Hey guys. Yeah, so I had an interesting conversation with. See, I refer to him as my friend, and I wouldn't necessarily want to say otherwise. Oh, hold on. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I call him my friend. I wouldn't want to necessarily say otherwise, but like, I just think we're too much at odds. And here's the thing, whenever we sort of, not maybe not whenever, but often when we recently, when we have sort of like gotten down to like basically my basic objection with like something that he says, he'll then often sort of throw out the word fundamentalism. And it's like, caring about being absolutely honest is not fundamentalism. Like literally caring about like getting everything right so that you can really get down to the baseline of a problem, or get down to like, I think if you put a thing this way, that actually goes away from the truth in this way. Like explaining that, if I am to explain my objection to something and then he just refers to it as fundamentalism simply because I have gone down to the core objection that I have, then where does that leave any possible objections? Does it just leave them floating in the ether? Because if you ever get down to the core objection that you have, it's fundamentalism. And I don't mean any given core objection. I mean like every given core objection, actually. Like he uses a certain word and it's like, well, actually, like that's just inaccurate. And then he's like, oh yeah, well, I guess we're doing absolutism or fundamentalism. It's like, do you want to speak honestly or not? Like, because then the interesting thing is like he's a person who says like, oh, like, well, I still lie, or I'm not as honest as I could be or something. It's like, maybe part of it is that you consider honesty fundamentalism. Because it's like, if that's the paradigm, then it really is. It's hilariously similar to what everyone says about like quote unquote Redditors and stuff. It's like they're just simply not honest. And like in fact they consider honesty to be some kind of sin. It's amazing, man. And the horrible thing is, like, I won't necessarily say what his profession is, but the horrible thing is like his profession is sort of a cliched profession for just that kind of thing. And last night I realized, like, all at once I was like, this is not the guy that I want to be in a certain profession that that I would then be in some actually tertiary way interacting with. Or I suppose you might say secondary. Like, what does that mean, Matt? It means like somebody else would be interacting with him, but it would be somebody that I would be associated with. It's not like, it's not legal, it's not illegal. In fact, it's illegal not to interact with this system. In some regards, I don't want to. I mean, you could probably fucking guess at this point. I don't know. But basically, like, he's a representative of that system, and I realized, like, I wouldn't want, like, I'd say stay away from him, and it fucking blows, dude. It fucking blows, because he's such like an exemplary person, but it's like, man, like, he just is actually opposed to the truth. And that's the deal with so many fucking people. They're actually opposed to the truth. Like when you actually talk about the truth, they'll tell you something like, this is fundamentalism. And it's like, well, Matt, what were you talking about, like Baptist Christianity? Were you talking about like conservative values? Were you talking about X and Y? It's like, I was simply, I'll give you an example. I'll give you the example from last night. He had said something about how, like, kids or people of certain let's say certain races, actually, and he apparently, it sounds like he went into this big like anti-racist thing for a while, and so I don't even know what it would fucking look like with him acting like that, but I mean, I guess I sort of know, but like acting like cliched like that, I don't know. But, or I don't know. Anyway, hold on. So this, basically this guy was like, oh, well, you know, they have, basically like this is an identity that they have to take on, or like this is basically like this cultural identity that, you know, like is the storyline in the culture for this race. They have to do that. And I was like, well, actually, I don't think it's valid to say that they have to do that. And in fact, I think that if you say they have to like take on a certain identity or interact with a certain set of ideals or ideas like that, they have to do that, then you're actually putting them into the same box that the culture is putting them in by saying you are XYZ race, this is the way that you act. And he said like they have to basically they have to do X, Y, or Z. And I was like, no, they simply don't have to. And have to is the whole illusion. I'd say actually for many things, but for that, like have to is the whole fucking propaganda. And so I was like, you're basically like building the walls around them, saying something like that. And he like sort of ultimately he's like, oh yeah, he's like, he fairly quickly I think was like, well, Matt got me kind of, and I wasn't looking to get him, but he was like, okay, like how about they will often do this or something like that. And I could tell by the way he phrased it, like he wasn't really on the same wavelength with me in terms of like, it seemed like he sort of got what I was saying, but then it seemed like he was essentially like humoring me by giving me an alternative phrasing for it. And it's like, well, it's not about the phrasing, it's about the whole fucking underlying conception that seems to have brought you to say something like that. And then he said something like, after giving like a possible different phrasing that actually was a little less dishonest or was a little less false, he then he eventually was saying like, well, yeah, I know we're talking in the realms of absolutism or fundamentalism here. And it's like, I didn't really push back too hard on that, but it was because at that point it was like we had already kind of argued about something else. But I was like, dude, like fuck you, man. Like, so caring about whether what you say to me is bullshit or not is fundamentalism. It's like, all right, fine. Then what's your conception of something that's not fundamentalism? You just fucking saying stuff that just goes right along with the bullshit mainstream propaganda, and me saying nothing about it because if I point out any way that you might be conceptually interacting with the mainstream shit that keeps people down, then you're gonna just call it fundamentalism, and you're gonna act like you're catering to me. It's like, dude, like, actually, I'm fucking catering to you in some sense, because I'm still here saying, like, actually, dude, like, you have this wrong, and this is kind of a basic fucking thing. And like, you know, I mentioned like the 2020 JP Sears conservative propaganda stuff. It's like, you know, you didn't fucking listen to your fucking JP Sears about how, you know, it's like, dude, like, come on, man. Like, and I'm not saying like that's sort of jokey. I'm not saying you have to listen to JP Sears. I'm just saying, like, dude, like you fucking, like, this is basic, simple logic stuff. And then when I bring up the logical flaw, the huge one, you say it's fundamentalism. It's like, all right, so then anything about the truth is fundamentalism to you. So then it doesn't matter what's true or not. It matters how much it looks like you're taking a position rather than taking no position. And it's like, but the thing is, you're smuggling in an entire fucking position there, and then you're saying like my disputing it is taking a strong position. It's like, what about the position you took, motherfucker? I don't know. It's really frustrating to me, but it's been interesting to get an idea of that kind of mindset.